Hey everyone, it's Anthony from Pretty Pretty here. In today's video, I'll be talking about how to use field lookups in Django. So field lookups are basically like the where clause to a SQL statement. And this video is actually from one of my free courses called Django Database Essentials. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link to it in the description below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thanks. So like I said before, with filter, you're not limited to just having like the ID equals something. Instead, you can have some kind of operator to give you more flexibility on what you return. So these are called field lookups, and they're used inside of filter, excludes, and gets. So I've covered those three things, and you'll see how these field lookups can be used. So I'll go through the list of some, and then I'll talk about what they can do. So exact is pretty obvious. It basically is just like the equal sign, but it gives you exactly that value. So just think of it as another way of having the equal sign. Exact is similar to the equal sign, except in this case, it is case insensitive. So if you have like all caps in your database and then you pass in something with all lowercase, then exact will match it. Whereas with exact, the case has to be exactly the same. So contains means it's like the keyword like, meaning it has part of a string in a bigger string. And I'll demonstrate that one because it's a little hard for me to explain. Contains is the case insensitive version. In is basically you're looking at a list of things and comparing the data in the columns to that list. And if it matches something in that list, then it returns. We have greater than, equal to, less than, equal to. We have starts with and starts with. So basically that means, a string starts with a certain string or it ends with a certain string, in the case with ends with and ends with. We have range. This is for more dates. You can look for a date between two dates. Date is obviously for date. Year, likewise, month and day are all similar to a date, just like week and weekday. So these are used for date columns, quarter as well, time, hour. There are quite a few that have to do with dates, minute, second. Okay, so here's another one that has nothing to do with date. So is null. So basically you're looking for data, or you're looking for columns that don't have anything for a particular column. So the value is empty. In my example so far, I don't have any of that, but you could. Regex is you're just applying a regular expression to be evaluated against. Likewise with regex. So that's all of the field lookups, and you'll see that with those, they're pretty powerful. So let's start at the beginning of the list and go through some of these. So I'll start with exact because, like I said, it's pretty much the same as using the equal sign. So simple dot objects filter. If I use ID equals 1, it gives me that. And if I use ID __ exact. So when you're using these field lookups, basically you supply the field first, so ID, and then double underscore followed by whatever the field lookup is. So in this case, exact and 1. And it gives me the exact same result. So there's really nothing interesting there because it's pretty much the same as ID, but just know that it is there for you. And then exact is similar, but it is case insensitive. So first, let me show you an example with exact. So we're going to say text exact, and I want this to be 4. So it gives me example.com. But if I do that again and I use all caps, I get nothing because nothing in the database exists with all caps. But if I use exact, so simple objects filter text __ exact, and then I put in 4, then it returns the result because it ignores case. So contains means it will find the string that you provide inside of a bigger string. So this could be something like simple objects filter. We're going to use text again, __ contains as the field lookup. And I want a filter or I want the data that contains, let's say, OU in it somewhere. So I'm thinking of 4, so FOUR. So if I do this, I should get the data for example.com, which I do. If I try to get something that contains something that doesn't exist, so contains and just some random characters here, I get nothing. So basically it's looking for that string in the larger string. And of course it can be an exact match. So contains, let's say 5. It gives me facebook.com because 5 is contained within 5. I contains is pretty much the same. I'll skip that because, it's like the I exact. In allows me to get things that are in a list. So filter, and we'll say number underscore underscore. So remember, it's the name of the field first, or the name of the column, underscore underscore, followed by the field lookup. So number in, and then I supply a list. So let's say 1 and 10. So it returns 3 results for me because in my database, I have 3 rows that match that. So I have 1 row with the number is 1, and I have 2 rows with number 10. If I do 20 and 32 next, then you'll see it's very similar. Simple objects filter, number in, and a list of 20 and 32. And I didn't put the double underscore. I put a single underscore. That's why it complained. But if you look here, let me just remove that. Then it gives me both example.com and facebook.com, which are 20 and 32. So moving on, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to are pretty obvious. So I'll just do one example with one of them. So simple objects filter, and then let's use greater than. So number is going to be greater than something. So even though I'm putting an equal sign here, it's going to execute the greater than. So that can be a little confusing when you think about it, but basically whatever number that I put on the right-hand side is going to be compared in a greater than fashion. So let me go back to my database. I want all the numbers that are greater than, let's say 10. So greater than 10. It gives me example.com and facebook.com because those numbers are 20 and 32, and those are greater than 10. If I use greater than or equal to, then I'll get 4 rows because I have 2 additional rows that are equal to 10. So it's fairly straightforward, fairly self-explanatory. Starts with, I starts with, ends with, and I ends with are very similar to contains. So if I just use simple objects filter, and let's say text starts with F, then it's going to give me example.com and facebook.com because their texts 4 and 5 both start with the letter F. If I supply something a little longer, so instead of F, I use like FI, then it only gives me 1 result. So the I starts with and then the ends with and I ends with are pretty similar. Range is for dates, so I don't have any dates. Perhaps I'll create a date column and create a video just for dates because there's so much there. Is null. I don't have anything for is null yet, or I don't have any data in the database that is null. So if I just wanted to see where things are null, so if I say simple objects filter, text, and then the name of the filter is null, so all one word. Is null. If I say true, I'm asking for all the rows where there is no data for text, which is nothing. And if I say is null is false, it's going to give me everything because everything in the database is there. So let me see if I can get rid of 1 and commit it. And then I'll try that with numbers. So filter number underscore underscore is null equals true. It gives me nothing. And then if I use is null is false, it gives me all the data again. So this column is not, let's see, it's not returning is null. It's probably because of the string representation of a number here. But since the number wasn't meant to be null, I need a better example. So I will create a table with null values just to show you how that works in a future video. Okay, so the next thing, let's move on. I won't cover regular expressions. It's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, you supply a regular expression and it will match anything with that regular expression. So that's about it. Those are all the field lookups that are really important. The date ones I didn't cover, but like I said, I'll create a video for that along with having something for null.